Hello, my name is Catherine and I work in the fruit and veg team at RHS Rosemoor. Today I'm going to show you how we store our onions over winter by plaiting them on a length of string. So here we've got some onions that we lifted in late summer and we laid them out to dry on the beds to dry out in the soil as thoroughly as possible before the rain started, and we brought them in before it rained so that they wouldn't get wet again, and they've been kept for the last few months under cover, so they are nicely dried out now and the foliage has died off, but we need this when we're stringing or plaiting the onions to wrap around the cord. So we've got the onions ready to be prepared for storage. You can either tidy them up now, depending on the look that you're going for. Some of them are already quite nice and clean. It's advisable to remove any loose papery bits of skin, but it's up to you whether you want to try and skin them really thoroughly so that you've got one nice smooth layer around them. You don't want to take off too much skin though, so that you're actually revealing the onion itself. But it depends whether you're going for quite a rustic look. You might want to leave them looking quite messy if you want that kind of look, or as I say, you can go for a really sort of smooth, nice, clean finish. Another really important thing is to check that you don't have any rotten onions which have any softness in them. So particularly around the base, where the roots are, if there's any softness, so this one's not good because you can see my fingers pressing into it and there's definitely rot in that one. Also check around the neck area, as these are the two areas most prone to getting rot. So these onions will not store. You don't want to be using them because they will risk transferring rot to other onions. To start stringing up your onions, you need a length of string or cord. Here we use a locally made woolen cord, which we've got a length here which is about an arm span, and you just need to start off by tying a knot at the top of the length of cord. Like so. Then once you've got your knotted loop of twine or cord, this needs to be attached to a hook fairly high up. Here we've got some more cord and a carabiner, and that just gets attached, and now we've got our loop ready to start stringing up our onions. Usually you start off with one of the larger onions and make sure he's got quite a long amount of dead foliage ready for wrapping around the cord. To begin your string or your plait of onions, for the first onion to be attached, you need to put your finger and thumb through the loop at the bottom. Then with your other hand, hold the cord a little bit higher up. Then you want to twist upwards, grab the cord with your finger and thumb and pull that through so you're creating a loop at the bottom. Through that loop, you take your first onion, push him through, pulling the foliage through the loop that you've created, and then the cord should just come down tightly around the neck of that onion, and that's the beginning of your plait of onions. So you've now got two bits of cord, and these are the bits we're going to wrap the rest of the onions around, and they'll gradually build up and up and up to create your string or your plait of onions. So for your second onion, you want to put the leaves through the gap and then twist the dead foliage around that piece of string twice and then pull the foliage down, securing the onion in place. So I've got that one on one bit of the cord, my next one's going to go on the other bit of cord, and that way we're just going to build it up and up. So for the third onion, you're going to be wrapping this one around the other bit of cord, pushing it through, winding it around about 2 times, and then pulling the foliage down through to the bottom. And as you're doing this, you want to be making sure that the onions are being pressed down nice and tightly so that they're securing themselves in place. And then you just carry on, filling up the gaps, You don't necessarily have to alternate which bit of cord you're wrapping around, just depends where the onions fit nicely in the plait really. As you can see, as you're putting more and more onions on, the two bits of cord are gradually getting further and further away. So every now and then, we take a smaller, shorter bit of cord and tie the two bits together so that they're closer again. And this might need to be done sort of every 10 centimetres or so, just to try and keep it nice and tight. And then once they're closer together again, you just carry on putting your onions on the cord and filling up the gaps. Once your string or plait of onions has got to the size that you want, for example, you might have used up all your onions, or it might have got to a weight where it's kind of heavy enough for you and you don't want it any heavier, it will look a bit like this. If you haven't already cleaned off your onions and you want to, you can do that now. If you wanted to, for example, cut down some of the roots a bit, you can chop that off now. Just be careful you're not going too close to the bulb itself. You don't want to be cutting off any of the basal plate. But if you wanted to tidy them up, you can do that now. And you can also, if you want to, cut off some of the dead foliage that will be poking out the bottom and the sides. Again, it depends. If you want a rustic look, you might want to leave it looking quite sort of natural and maybe slightly untidy, or you might want to go for a really nice smooth finish. It's up to you. This plait though is now heavy enough that I want to stop at this point. So all that I would do is I would unhook it from the carabiner or the hook, whatever you've got it hanging from, and then you need to be hanging this up somewhere cool and reasonably dry, but somewhere with good ventilation, such as a porch outside a front door, or maybe an outhouse if you've got one, or an open shelter in the garden, just to keep the rain from getting to it, but somewhere nice and cool away from direct sunlight and too much dampness.